This is a lecture from Open Tuition. To benefit from the lecture, you should download the free lecture notes from opentuition.com.
We're now going to go through and look at the second part of your complex group structures, which looks at your D-shaped group structures. If you've already mastered the techniques of your vertical group structure, then your D-shaped group structure won't cause you any additional concern. There is just one extra aspect that you need to go through and consider. So what do we mean by a D-shaped group structure? We've seen that already when we introduced it on the introduction at the start of the chapter. So what you have is a parent, a sub, and another company at the bottom, and as well as a sub having an investment in the company at the bottom, the parent also has an investment as well, doesn't it? So you have a D-shaped group. It looks like that, doesn't it? It looks like a D, doesn't it? So what you've got is now we refer to the investments. So here this 10% is referred to as the direct holding, when Y has the investment in Z. So the sub has the investment in the sub-sub. So the investment that we've seen before in our vertical group structures, that's the indirect holding, isn't it? So we took here, it would be, we take 80% of that investment in calculating the goodwill. Before we touch upon the goodwill, the key bits first of all are to work out the percentage ownership. So I think everybody will be quite happy there by saying that the parent has control of S. It owns 80% and the NCI own 20, don't they? Nice and easy, really. But the issue then is the sub-sub, because you've got 80% of 75, isn't it? So your indirect ownership is 60%, but don't forget as well to add on the direct holding at 10%. So to that 60, you add on the 10, which gives you 70, and then you have the effective non-controlling interest is there now at 30%. Okay. So all the calculations are exactly the same as what we had before. You still calculate goodwill for both the sub and the sub-sub in exactly the same way. However, there is one little note of caution at the bottom. When you're calculating the goodwill arising on the acquisition of Z, which is here the sub-subsidiary, yes, you put in 80% based on the indirect holding, but don't forget as well that you now need to include the direct holding as well. So whatever the parent has paid to acquire that 10%, we need to add that in to the goodwill calculation. That's it. Everything else for the goodwill is the same. There isn't even any adjustments that we have to make differently to what we've seen before with regards to the non-controlling interest. That's it. So what I'd do is stop the video now, have a go at the example that you've got over the page in your own time, because I think it's a good example to do to help you see whether you've understood the basic from your vertical group structure. And when you come into looking at the D-shaped group, you just need to pay attention to the calculation of the goodwill, don't you? And add in that direct cost as well as the indirect cost. See how you get on. I think you may be pleasantly surprised how well you would actually do. Good luck.